But then, when we design for such a wide range of, age or people, there is like, you need to compromise many things, correct? You need to think about the themes, you need to think about the mechanic in the style. How you start all the concept and how you start to think about the game in the early stage, because you need to accommodate, I want to be played by the children, but also the adult can be engaged. What is the key that we can start something like that?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, that's a great question. Well, for me, I often start with because my games are quite simple. Usually they start with a mechanical idea.
Okay, so you start from the mechanical.
Usually, like Sushi Go started with playing Seven Wonders and thinking, how can I make this more accessible and easier to teach? That's how it started. And Cacao started with the mechanism I had of playing two tiles together and the workers on one tile affect the action on the other tile. That was the idea. And I think as I'm designing, I'm thinking, I want to be able to teach this game in a few minutes. So it can't have so many rules that it takes me 10 or 15 or 20 minutes to explain the game. So that's one thing I'm thinking about. And also I'm thinking, I want the players to be able to understand the game and start to play well on their first game. You know that feeling when you play a more complex game and you finish the game and you go, oh, next time I'll be able to play well because I understand what to do. I want people to understand straight away, So those two things affect how I design, I think.
I see.
So I often start with an idea for a mechanism, and then as I'm building the game, I'm all the time trying to streamline it and keep it crisp and simple so it can be taught and understood very quickly. That's probably the best answer I can give. But it's a hard process. You learn to get better at it, I think.
Wow, that's cool. Is it related with your second, philosophy about intuitiveness in the game design?
Yeah.
That's part of it. You want people to directly understand how to play the game when they start to play it.
That's right.
That's the intuitiveness that you mentioned. Okay.
Even better is if someone can learn the game just by watching. So if you see two people playing, Connect 4 or Uno or something, usually you can watch for 30 seconds and go, oh, I know what they're doing. So I'll sit down and play the next game. So, and when I was testing Sushi Go, a friend came over late and he was watching us testing. And he sat down to play after watching half a game. And I said, oh, I better tell you the rules. And he said, oh, no, I know how to play because I was just watching.
So that's a good news.
So that I thought, oh, well, that's what I want. That's what I'm aiming for. So, yeah, that's how I kind of gauge intuition in the game, I suppose. Yeah.
Wow. How important is playtesting for your design process now?
Well, playtesting is it's important for every designer. Yeah. It's kind of the lifeblood of the design process because you can design in your head, you can design in a book, but until you bring people into the situation, you really have no idea what you've got. So playtesting is incredibly important. Different games, though, require different types of playtesting. So for me, often what I'm doing is getting people together who aren't, big gamers. They're just casual gamers or people who game occasionally. And the main thing I'm looking for is more their emotional reaction and how they respond to different parts of the game. I think when you design more complex strategy games, often playtesting has a different purpose, which is like finding bugs and balancing cards and going through all the math of the game and making sure everything works together. For me, that side of it's usually pretty easy and simple. It's much more fine-tuning the game to ensure everybody's having a fun experience quickly. So that's more how playtesting works for me. But it's very important to the whole design process. So getting a group of playtesters that you can regularly meet with is very important. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I think for the end part of our discussion, perhaps, would you like to share a little bit message to our young designer in Indonesia and perhaps some of our market and family, and we have a lot of teachers now also in Indonesia start to design something for the students.
Oh, that's great.
Perhaps you can share a little bit some message
Sure.
to everyone. So,
Well, it's really exciting to hear about the growing hobby in Indonesia. I guess I would say to anyone out there who's starting to think about game design or who is designing games, my best advice to you is to just put something out there. You know, make something, test it out with your friends, and then put it out into the world, whether that's making it available online in print and play, or taking it to playtesting groups, or taking it to a convention, or trying it in your classroom. Just test it out and get going. Because every game you put into the world, you're going to learn something from. So that would be my advice. But yeah, it's really exciting to hear there's a growing culture over in Indonesia. The hobby's quite small in Australia too, and but growing as well, and it's exciting. So it's great to hear people interested in design, and yeah, go for it.
thank you. So, as I mentioned, we will find a way to bring Phil to Indonesia sometime. So we're just neighbors. So I
Yeah,
think
we're
it's not
pretty
too
close.
far away.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for
Oh,
your
my
time.
pleasure. Thank you.
It was great. Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye.